Gosh, if we sound just a little bit giddy, even though our house is a mess, look at this. That's what you have to do when you work on stuff.
Yeah.
We have successfully fixed 2 issues in our RV. Well, actually 3. 3.
3.
Yep.
We did all this, tore all this apart, just for fuses. Yeah, so I pulled out this very generic Fleetwood manual that they give us, and you would think that if you spend as much money on a motorhome as these cost, they would give you a manual that actually fits your RV. So I wanted to find out about fuses. So the manual says to go to page 08-1. So I thumbed through all this till I get to page 0801, right here. And I start looking through all this because I'm trying to find out about fuses. So I finally get to page 0807, and the very, very last thing it says, for information regarding fuses, please refer to the information on page 4-1. So my eyes started twitching at that point. So now I'm going to go back to page 4-1 and see where this adventure sends me.
It's kind of like calling an automated phone system.
Yeah.
And it's like, press 1. And then you end up going like around in a circle.
So, anyway, that's my gripe of the morning. Happy RVing. Thank you.
But seriously, if you just Google your question,
it's quicker than this manual.
Yes, you will find RV forums that can answer your question quicker than you can find it in this manual, if it's even in the manual. And anyway, I know any of you with RVs, you know how these manuals are. They have their place, but we just wish they were a little bit more specific and helpful. We're on page 4-1. Let's see.
Yeah, and
that's talking about the Providence.
And it's talking about the Providence, which is not what I have. And all it says is this paragraph.
They are located
on 3 separate panels.
They are located.
And they're located differently for each model. Such areas as the hall, walkway, under the bed, below the reefer, or the outside storage compartments are typical locations. So I guess you just got to wander through your motorhome until you can find fuse panels.
Had we known, had our owner's manual said where there are fuses to reset, we might have found this a lot earlier on, saved ourselves about, what, $60 for a new switch that we didn't even need, and lived inconveniently with the passenger side frozen, broke, in a reclined position with the footrest out.
So we called Rev and we got him to send us a schematic. And if you're an electrician that can read those 10 pages of schematics, maybe you can trace all that out.
Well, actually, by the time we got our schematic, we had already figured out where they were.
Yeah.
So
anyway, we've got fuses up front. Well, behind all this mess.
Yes.
Behind this box.
And
we've got fuses in there, both in the box and in those wires.
Fuses.
Now we've got fuses back here. Above the microwave, we've got circuit breakers.
Yeah, it's back here. Now, we have a Fleetwood Excursion 2013. So, and when I open this, things are going to fall out because that's just the way it is. There's a panel up there. Ah, it's dark. But
we
anyway.
Got fuses here, and then behind this box, we have more fuses.
Okay, and I'm not going to do this right now, but under this big drawer right here,
there's another fuse.
There's one fuse. We have no idea what it goes to. I just found it looking for the fuses to the... Well, we had 3 issues. Our propane tank indicator wouldn't work, our tank sensors wouldn't work, and our power chair had stopped working. So we had 3 things going on.
And our CO2 sensor.
So, let's go around to the back and see where the how we fix this.
So we came back here and we've got another array of fuses and little things, but also behind this black box here, this thing here, which has a warning on it, if you want to read the warning. Has got a bunch of fuses in here also that we had to use a flashlight and a mirror to see even where they were.
Yes, so we used the mirror from the bathroom.
Yep.
Because back here where we needed to get to, and we did learn this, so if anybody else has trouble with their CO2 detector, I'm going to go back. It's still off, right?
Yeah.
Okay, you can't get to those fuses. You see those wires? There's no easy way to do it.
And there's 2 3-amp fuses that one works the CO2 detector and one works the gauges for the holding tanks.
Right, and so...
But they both are labeled that
F5
way.
and F15 if you have ours, but we learned that that's kind of a thing. Who'd have thought? They're both listed as LP detector in the fuse box, but like I said, you have to have a light and a mirror to get back in there, and then you have to weave through the wires, and then if you're scared to death of electricity like I am, even... Now, the power wasn't off the first time. That was our bad, and I would not recommend that, because this hit one of these and sparked at me. The fuse sparked at me twice, probably because of the angle I was going in, because it's very awkward. It was way back. And then right here, we finally found the fuses to the chair.
Now to explain that, up in the front, there are 2 fuses that say passenger seat.
Oops, where is it?
Driver's seat. So we had checked those fuses out, and they checked out fine with the meter. So we said, well, it's not a fuse.
Right there. Those are the 2 chair
those
fuses.
2. So I'd even taken it to the
They're resettable, by the way.
The RV repair place up the street here. They had told me that it was a chassis issue or something like that. But anyway, while we were poking around back here, we saw those 2 fuses that said driver's seat, driver's chair. Which one of them was tripped.
There's the map of it. Anyway.
So I don't know what the front 2 fuses up front that say driver's seat and driver's chair are actually for. Because if you unplug those fuses, the driver's seat still works.
And we also did some detective work where we switched the fuses out and with the driver's chair that worked, and it didn't pop the breaker. So then we knew that it wasn't the breaker, the fuse. It was a resettable fuse for the chairs. So we knew it had to be something else.
Yes.
Oh, some tools, and you left your tools in there, didn't you? It's going to show. Well, we'll show you later some of the tools we used to check and see if things were working. Actually, it's right here.
This comes with a set of fuses that you can buy at any auto parts store. If all you do is take this and touch it to the metal contacts outside the fuse, and if there's power there, the green light will light up.
Right.
Now, when we disconnected our batteries, we used this to check the fuses to make sure there were no power coming back here, which there was no power.
Right.
So then we went ahead and
then I was not scared to put the fuse back
put
in.
the fuses back in.
Because it sparked at me twice.
That's one type of meter. There's several different types, and this also adjusts, so you can adjust it to different size fuse widths.
Right.
In the back.
And this is what we use, like our RV. I know some RVs have a indicator light if your fuse is blown. Ours does not. So we went around, and everywhere we found fuses, we checked them because we had these 3 issues going on. We've definitely grown dendrites through this process, and we saved some repair money. Because if you're wondering what to wear when you're working on your RV in tight places, you need a headlamp because you have to see in those dark little corners everywhere.
Yes, and you also need smaller fingers sometimes.
I know. I didn't want to do it, but So I really stepped outside of my comfort zone, and I dealt with electricity, which is funny because my dad was an electrician.
There's not even a lot of space to get the needle nose in there without it, because all those boxes are there.
Yeah, I was ready to cry. I was ready to cry. But anyway, we did it. Go, high five. Woohoo, poo. All right. Sorry. Okay, so you've seen our journey with Fun with Fuses and how we solved 3 issues that we had. We just want to wrap up by sharing some tools that we used and some resources that you might find helpful.
The main tools that we used was voltmeter that we can check circuits with. And then we used fuse checker. All you do is, like we said in the video, is just touch that to the glass part, the metal part of the fuses, and it'll light up. That shows the fuse is good, so you don't have to pull each fuse in and out.
Now, how much are each of those items? About?
Well, this is, I don't know, $10 at Lowe's, $10 at Lowe's. This comes with a kit of about 20 fuses. It was like, I don't know, $6, $7. And then I also have this line checker. See, it's green. And I'm going to move the camera a little bit over to here. And see, I have an electric wire right here. If you want to see if the wire's hot, you just put it back up this way. You just touch it to it. And see, it turns red. That shows that wire is hot.
And did you see how much that one was?
I think this was about $10 too. Just a few things to have.
So as soon as we start talking, we get a visitor over here.
Which is okay, that's low enough.
She's trying to creep up on the couch. Okay, so those are some tools we use. What about resources? Well, what we have found the best thing to do whenever you have an issue with your RV is just go to the RV forums. We're a member of several groups. We're a member of the Fleetwood Owner Facebook group and Full Timers. And we just ask a question.
So another one, IRV.
Yeah, if you just Google, there's forums that'll come up.
Yeah.
And I'll put a list of the different sites that you can check, but what we usually do, truthfully, is just go to our Facebook groups or Google the question, and we can find a YouTube video that tells us how to do something or what somebody else did, or just information. So, and a lot of times we find out there's a lot of others out there that are just as frustrated as we are. So it's anytime we can learn something and share, we will, and we appreciate other people learning and sharing as well. Okay, so another resource for you is, and I can only speak for Fleetwood because we have a Fleetwood, but their customer support was wonderful. I just went to Fleetwood, went to under the menu www.fleetwood.com. On the menu, I just went to current owner, and you can request technical assistance. And I emailed back and forth with a technician that answered even my silliest questions, like we were afraid to use the battery disconnect because we thought everything would power down and we'd have to reprogram the whole system. So, and he assured us, though, that that's not going to happen, and that we did indeed need to do that to mess around in that battery control center. So those are some resources that helped us through this.
Also, if you join the Fleetwood Owners group, the very first page or the first part of that group, they put all that contact stuff on there.
So, lessons learned. Well, our number one lesson for this one is never give up, because we had even taken the RV to
local repair place.
Yeah, local repair. They didn't know what was wrong with the chair. We would look at it on a regular basis. Do you see what she's doing? She knows. So we would.
You have dogs. This is
yeah.
what happens.
periodically we would just pull everything out and get up under the seat and try to figure out what was wrong. My fear was it was a pinched wire, and how in the world would I ever find a pinched wire? I know that that can happen because we did learn about that on some forums.
Turned out to be 2 jam switches.
Yes. So I will show you a picture of what we think happened. The seat belt can go this way or that way, and I'll insert a picture here, but it was too far forward. And
yep, that's Luna.
Yeah. They're just like kids. They know when mom is busy. I see you, Luna. So anyway, it had come up and it had jammed the switch. So that's what we think did it. And once we unjammed the switch and reset the breaker, we were fine. Okay, here's the switch that was jammed right here. And this is fixed in this position now, but it was all the way forward, meaning that when the seat belt came around, which it's coming, it's hard to do it with one hand. Okay, it got right to here, and we have an ottoman here for the dogs. So with that connected to the seat belt, we think it just pushed that in and caused it to trip the fuse. So it's unjammed now, and works fine. So never give up. Keep looking for your fuses, and now we know, so we don't have to look anymore. Respect electricity.
Disconnect your battery.
Right. Follow warnings. I mean, the first time we went in the battery control box center, we didn't, and that was really a dangerous thing to do. So, but now we know it's safe and we know what to do, and we won't go in that box again without disconnecting the batteries.
You have anything to say, Luna? No?
But do check with your company. I'm sure there's other good customer support out there. All right, and also, we forgot to mention that we did buy a fuse kit to have on hand so that when these fuses do blow, we'll be able to replace them on the road. And now we know where they are. That is 98% of the battle.
Yep.
Okay, until next time.
We love looking at freedom.